The noted author C.S. Lewis was married to a wife named Joy, and she had cancer. And so he was praying, and eventually her cancer went away, or at least was in remission. And so when it did so, a reporter went up and asked C.S. Lewis, "Did you give praise and thanks to God for your prayers being answered?" And he said, "No, I don't pray that way. I pray because I can't help myself. I pray because I am helpless. It doesn't change God, it changes me." And I thought, I'm glad I'm not his wife. I wouldn't have wanted to hear that. Because after all, I think if I was married, I would say, I want her to be well. And there's nothing wrong with that. And as a matter of fact, these readings tell us to go ahead and do so. To pray, to ask, to seek, to find. I often hear this phrase, prayer doesn't change God, it changes me. And that's a totally false notion of what we truly believe. When we say that, we're thinking of God as the eternal watchmaker who just lets it go, and he's uninterested, and his wife Joy was going to get cancer eventually anyway, so what am I supposed to do about it? We'll just accept it. And that's not what we see in today's reading. The Sodom and Gomorrah are slated to be destroyed. And so Abraham goes up to God, said, "Will you destroy it, about 50 people?" And he convinces God not to. Then, long story short, down to 10. And even those 10 he couldn't find, and Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. But the point being, he got it to change. Or take a little later when the descendants of Abraham were in slavery in Egypt. They didn't pray, "Well, gee, help me to accept this slavery." Instead, they prayed to be freed. And God sent them Moses to free them from Egyptian slavery. In the gospel reading, he says that ask and you will receive, seek and you find, knock and the door will be open to you. God asks us, invites us, because he's involved in our lives. He's the very ground of our being. We would not exist without him. And because he's the very ground of our being, he cares very deeply about us. And so we pray, knowing that sometimes the answer might be no. Sometimes the answer might be yes, and sometimes the answer might be wait. But regardless of which, we don't stop praying. And we recognize that sometimes God does give us this miracle. Sometimes the cancer is cured. Sometimes it's a minor miracle where I'm searching for employment or a way to meet my rental payment. Or maybe it's something just like I wanted a good meal. All these things God has given to us. And in response, we say with the words of the psalmist, "Lord, on the day I called for help, you answered me. I will give thanks to you, O Lord, with all my heart, for you have heard the words of my mouth. In the presence of the angels I will sing your praise. I will worship at your holy temple and give thanks to your name." To say and give thanks for what God has done for us. The big, the medium, and the small. One of the things I have kind of annoyed me with the pro-life movement was we had prayed for over 50 years for Roe versus Wade to be overturned. We had marched on Washington, D.C., wanting it to be overturned. And then all of a sudden it gets overturned, and the next day we're praying, for an end to an abortion. I was like, no, nothing about what just happened, nothing to say, gee, after 50 years we won a significant victory. Instead to say, well, we still have more. In the end, yes, we do have more for pro-life. Yes, we do have more work to do. But for once, to give thanks and praise to God for the gift that we won. And I see that in my own life too. The gift of the things that happened in my life, maybe past, present, or even the future, the moderate things, and even for a good meal. That's why we come to this altar, to give praise and thanks to God for all those things. Eucharist means thanksgiving. We give thanks and praise for the gift of God answering our prayers, knowing that He's not uninterested. He answers our prayers. And for that, whenever He answers them, however He answers them, we come to this altar to give thanks.